Hello and welcome to Be Powerful with Liz and Lee. It's a new day and we're so glad you're here.
So you can expect to hear candid conversations on what it means to be powerful. Live authentically, live in the midst of ups and downs, productively, and above all else, joyfully.
We are so thankful for you, our community of listeners, and we hope you enjoy today's show. Oh my goodness. Hi, everybody. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Sarah Catherine.
Hi, ladies.
Everybody, this is Sarah Catherine Garvin. She is our guest today. We're kind of giggling because I had some technical difficulties getting us started. Didn't have Liz's mic on, didn't have a card in the recorder, but third time is the charm. So we're going to get it done. So why you're here today is Liz and I have started talking about Joie De Vivre, the joy of life. And recently you just up and left Charlotte and moved to France for 2 months. And we want to talk about it.
Yes. And I am here to give you all the details.
Well, I've been following you on Instagram for the last 2.5 months, and I am intrigued, and I know nothing about it except I know one fact. A very sad thing happened, and your Joie De Vivre has come from and with along the journey of losing your dad, correct?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what happened and how your journey started.
Absolutely. So my dad actually got sick about a year ago this month, and he called us. Actually, I've got all these dates ingrained in my head, so I can call them out very specifically. But he called me on October 6th as I was on my way home from work, and it was about 7:30 at night, and he said, "Are you with Johnny, my husband?" And I said, "No, I'm on my way home." And he was like, "Well, call me when you get home." And I said, "Dad." And he said, "Sarah, just call me when you get home." So, of course, I panicked and I ran home as quickly as I possibly could. And I got home, ran up the stairs. I'm dialing my dad as I'm going up the stairs. And I get to Johnny and I'm like, "Dad, what is it?" And that's when he told us that he had they found cancerous cells. And of course, your mind and your heart kind of just spirals out of control and you only think the worst. And they didn't know what cancer it was at the time. They had just found the cancerous cells. And so, of course, we were hoping for the best, that it would be more of a lymphoma, which is easily curable and treatable. And at the same time, they had also found like a lump in his neck that had just appeared. And so that's why they were thinking that it was lymphoma. He, typical dad, doesn't want you to worry, doesn't want you to stress, don't rearrange schedules, don't worry about me, I'm going to figure this out. And, me, his daughter, his only daughter, no.
Are you an only child?
No, I have an older brother, and I also have an older half sister. So we have the same mom but different dad. He obviously, my brother was involved in this as well, and so. On October 11th, he goes in for a CAT scan. And I was actually in a wedding in San Francisco that weekend. And I said, "Dad, I'll take the red eye home. I'll come with you. I just want to be with you while, because that's so surreal being in a hospital room. Your health is on the line. You have no idea. And I just didn't want him to be alone. My parents are divorced. They've been divorced since I was not even a year old. So.
And he's never remarried?
He did remarry, and he was married for about 23 years, but kind of goes along with the whole story of living your life and the art of living. Right. He also lost his parents and both his brother and sister to cancer in a very short amount of time.
Oh, my.
And it kind of sent him on a journey as well in his later half of life. And so with him wanting to find kind of that joy in his life when his family, was taken away from him and realizing we only have this one life, his journey and his story kind of took a different direction too. And so they ended up divorcing and then he never remarried.
Okay.
But my dad was he was just full of life. He went anywhere and everywhere, met everyone. He was just a total ladies' man and was a part of all these different groups. And he did cruises with, with all the friends. And he was just always living his life. But
that's an inspiration to you then.
Absolutely.
So you felt like he had lived a great life and left no page unturned.
Correct. Yeah. He was, he just was such a joy to be around, was always having fun. And we kind of played off each other in
Right.
that way. Because he also saw me, he was very career driven, and he also saw me, who was very career driven. But I was taking the time to go on, to travel with Johnny, with my husband. And he would see that, and that would inspire him to take time off of work. And so it was kind of like we were feeding off of each other.
Right.
So we went in for the CAT scan. I asked, do you want me to fly back? He's like, no, absolutely not. Then for about 2 weeks passed, and we're waiting for the results to come back. And on October 27th, he actually called me at work.
Oh, wow.
And it was about 2:00 in the afternoon. And he called me to tell me that he had just been diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma, metastatic melanoma. And basically it was spreading everywhere. He didn't want us to be there with him at the doctor's office, so we made him record them. And so he would send us the recordings of, the doctor explaining to him whatever would happen. So ironically, in that same time frame, I have always been very career oriented and very career driven. That's been my entire world. And over the years, I have accumulated businesses and companies and, totally launched the whole entrepreneur spirit. And this past couple years with the pandemic and just feeling very overwhelmed and very stretched, very thin, and trying to run and do all of these things. I was just feeling very stretched thin. And so 5 minutes before he had called me to let me know that he had been diagnosed, I had actually shut down one of my companies.
Wow.
I had sent out an email to all of my clients, letting them know that I was cutting ties. I was letting it go.
Okay.
I tell you that because I think it plays into, how I got to where I am.
Right.
Because it was
How many companies did you have?
Right.
I have 4 companies.
Okay.
And 3, one of them is
That you own?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were all revolved around the interior design industry.
Correct.
And so one of them is a real estate holding company. So that houses like I had a warehouse and my studio.
Right.
But I have since started.
So you were
Reeling
even at this
back.
point before you're speaking to your dad, who's in stage 4 melanoma, you're shutting down one of your 4 businesses.
Correct.
And then you speak to him, and what happens?
So then he calls me, or, we then move into, processing all of this.
Right.
And it was really weird because he had, I didn't mention this part, it was that same week he went in to get surgery on the mass that they found in his neck. And they actually couldn't perform the operation fully because it was wrapped around a nerve and they didn't want to cause any nerve damage. So they couldn't get it all out. And they really thought it was lymphoma at that point because it was so, whatever. And so that weekend, I went to go check on him, bring him food or whatever. And when I walked in, he was it was almost as if your body, when it doesn't know something, it keeps moving.
Yeah.
But as soon as it hears what's wrong, it's like it just starts shutting down.
Yeah.
So you could see it.
He was walking around on a cane. He was kind of limping. He was just he was in so much pain.
Had he been told that he had a certain amount of time?
No.
Okay, so this was not a reflection of that. This was just his body was that quickly shutting down from this cancer.
Correct.
Okay.
It was like he heard it. He knew now that there was an issue, and now his body was going to start shutting down. So I went to go check on him, and Johnny and I went together, and we walked in, and we were just completely blown away at his condition and how quickly he was
deteriorating.
I know.
No, it's a terrible word.
And the body does take a minute to do that generally.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is a fast process.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And at that moment, I was like, you can't be he lived alone. And I said, you cannot be by yourself. We need to, need to move in. So that Sunday, which was basically Halloween, Johnny and I dropped everything and we just moved in with him. And that Monday, November 1st, it's crazy how I have all these dates. That was the first day that I had essentially taken off work.
Okay.
I couldn't think about anything else. He was
Right.
my only priority.
Right.
He was the only thing that I needed to focus on. And no one knew what was about to happen. It was just seeing him in front of me, knowing I had seen him not shortly before that and he was fine.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden it was just a completely
Can I
different
interrupt
person.
and ask you this? Because I went through almost a similar thing, but not. What kind of conversations were these with him? Like, he knew he was dying, right?
I think he knew.
And you all were upset, obviously. So how was the conversation?
So my dad is not a very emotional person.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
again, playing that dad role, he doesn't
Right.
want you to worry. He doesn't want you to think about it. And so those conversations were at the beginning very vague.
Right.
And when the disease started progressing over the next couple weeks, they had put him on all kinds of pain medications and everything. And he was, the decline was very,
Right.
very swift to the
Yes.
point where then he went into the hospital.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a liability or if the hospitals just don't want to say it or they're just nervous because what if they give you a timeline and it's not correct? Or
Well, it's a suggestion, I think. They've done a lot of, if you suggest something, the mind hears that and you go, oh, I've only got 2 years. And then, there it is. But I don't know. It's just interesting how your story about how he starts to decline just because the disease is making him decline,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
But how quickly that was and how shocking it was for you to see it.
Yes.
In real time. So
in real
quickly.
time. You're watching someone that you love and care about so much just dying in front of you.
And so he's this vital human being that has been your inspiration. You inspired them back and forth. And so did he ever say, it's going to be okay? Or, what did he, I just want to know what he said.
I know. And again, my dad was just not emotional when it came to that. And he would try, we were with him every day.
Right.
So he ended up being in the hospital long story short, in 2.5 months, he was gone.
Wow.
So by the time we found out to the time that he passed away was 2.5 months. And of course, as we started moving through knowing a little bit more, because the first time he did go into the hospital, I point blank had to ask the doctor,
Right.
what
happening?
are we looking at
Yeah.
here?
Right.
Like, cut the chase. I can't do this. I'm not
Right.
going to just beat around the bush. Where are we?
Yeah.
And he did say, if we were going to give it one last shot, we're going to put him on these cancer medications.
Okay.
This is basically our Hail Mary. If it doesn't work out, then we're talking weeks, if not days.
Oh, gosh.
And I was like,
this is devastating.
Oh.
And so you were shouldering this by yourself along with your husband.
yes. And then by that time, my brother, he had sold everything he owned and he was on the road with his family. They bought an RV and they were traveling the
Wow.
US. And that was
It
kind of
sounds
like,
you got a spirit
family.
in your
I
family
know,
that is
right?
like,
It's just
well,
like-
let's go with it. Whatever's happening.
so he was on the other side of the country. So we were waiting for him
Okay.
to come
Yeah.
back. So once he came back, that was about 2 weeks in, he moved in with my dad and we were kind of tag teaming.
Okay.
But then, yes, we would try to talk to dad and just be like, Dad, we love you so much. He's like, nope.
I'm not going there.
I'm not going there.
Yeah. Okay.
And
just
but
wondered,
we
just
did
curious.
but we did have very intimate conversations about what were his wishes,
Right.
what kind of celebration of life did he want. My brother started pulling out old photos and just trying to.
Did you all do the celebration of his life?
We did.
You did.
We did.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Now, and I want you to continue with your story. So, when you lose a parent, there's no way to tell anyone about that.
No.
And you have a mom that's alive now still, but there's just nothing to be said about it,
No.
right? Except, what did you know from being his daughter that led you to be able to survive it?
My dad and I had this very special bond, and there was no one else in this world that I knew was more proud of me than my father. And that day that I moved in with him, it was like I walked to the bathroom. He wanted to go on a walk because that's how he took his mind off of everything.
Right.
He was like, I just want to get out.
Keep going.
So Johnny and him went outside and I went to the bathroom and it's like,
Yeah, you know.
just know. And my knees, I hit the ground and I just sobbed because I knew that I was losing this person in my life that had my back no matter what.
Full support.
Full support. And so in that same kind of, give and take, I wanted to be that for him, and I wanted to be that strength and support for him. And so, I was there every day with him in the hospital, making sure that, someone was there with him and being with him. And same with my brother too. I don't want to discount him in any way. But he was just this form of support that I will never, ever be able to compare anything else or anyone to.
That's a gift.
Which is amazing. And I forgot your question.
No, that's okay. No, I think you're doing a really great job answering my question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that balance of you've got to move in, you've got to take care of business, you've got to manage all of these things, and at the same time be vulnerable. And it's like, when is there time to do that? And it's also that mixed, I don't know, I haven't experienced that blessing, I would imagine, between being granted the gift of some more time with him, yet knowing it's almost over. I can't imagine.
Yes. And, we had those conversations too. Like, some people lose their parent in a car accident or a heart attack.
Right. You had time.
We had some time.
Yes. So what kind of advice would you, not that you're ready to give advice, you're still in the healing process, but if you could, to someone going through that, what is that advice? I mean,
it's just every moment is so beautiful. It doesn't matter what it is. It could just be some mundane task. I joked that, he was so particular about everything. Like when I handed him a glass with a straw in it, it had to be the little curvy straw and it had to be at this perfect angle, or his stupid remote had to be like perfectly placed next to his hand.
Right.
And in those moments, I would get so annoyed. I'm like, I might kill you first. Okay. But you look back at those little tiny moments and you're like, they're so beautiful. And I was just so grateful for any second that I had with him. And we talk about that all the time. It was like, there were times that I did get frustrated because, you're being a caretaker and you're vulnerable and you're going through grief and you're losing him and he's dying, and it's just, there were moments where I was just like, I don't know how much longer I can do this.
It's raw. Right. The thing about life is it's raw. You are living in a raw situation of no handbook, right?
No, absolutely no handbook.
And not sure
guidance.
What to do.
Yes.
And exhausted and scared and terrified. And in grief before your dad even died, right?
Correct.
And these are the moments where you just live so powerfully, and that's why you remember these dates and you remember these conversations and the remotes and that's the joie de vivre of this moment.
Absolutely. And we talk about how, like, even though it was only 2.5 months and there were days where I was like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. It was like the perfect amount of time.
Okay.
So, but it was very quick, but it was like, for us, it was just the perfect amount of time to have with him where, we didn't have to, it wasn't quick, like in terms of like gone immediately.
Right.
And we had some time, but it also wasn't getting drug out for 6 months, a year or whatever, where you're just like, oh my God.
Too much pain all around.
Too much pain.
Did you have a moment once he did pass away that was kind of hit your knees again? Like at all the relief, but the like letting go of now he is gone, and like that second step of processing.
Yeah. So we were in the room with him when he took his last breath, and the hardest.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was such a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Like the hardest part for me throughout all of this is learning how to process being so unbelievably sad, but so incredibly grateful for the time, the process, the day of just how beautiful it just seemed like it was perfectly planned for us.
Sure.
Obviously our story and who we were as a family, it was perfect for us. And my brother and I were in that room, and like, this is so cute. But, when we were little, my dad used to sing Jesus Loves Me to us when we were kids. And so we sang that to him you know, in those final
Oh,
moments.
no. Oh, my God.
Okay.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
We sang that to
what a
him
blessing.
in his final moments. And he made like this, and then my brother made a joke, and obviously he wasn't conscious, and he just made this noise, and we knew he was listening to us. And you could just feel the love in that room, that it was the three of us together again, you know, together as a unit. And so
at the very end.
At the very end. And so it was just, again, it's like processing the trauma of watching someone you love literally decline before your eyes, and then also taking their last breath. But then again, being so grateful for the moment and what it was and the experience in itself.
Right. Do you think you knew that at the moment, or like looking back, you know now that it was really hard and you weren't grateful, or you really were experiencing that?
I was really, those first 2 weeks after he passed, I was so numb. I was like this.
Right.
Of course. Right. But in my brain, I was like, I was so happy for that. I was so grateful, but I was so sad.
Yes.
So it was like a combination of both, I guess. It's like I knew at that time, but now I can really speak to it.
That's incredible. I mean, and I think that's such the fascination about the human behavior and how we can have such extreme feelings at the same time. Yeah. And when you can embrace that and acknowledge it and move through that, I mean, that's really powerful. Yeah. And we don't always need some bucket list moment to create these memories with the people who we love the most.
Absolutely.
I mean, could you think of a better way?
No.
Nobody wants their daddy to die.
No, absolutely
But
not.
you had those moments. Yes. And you will carry that all of your life.
Absolutely.
And you'll still remember his joy and his joie de vivre.
Yes.
His way of living, which you seem to emulate, which is why
you have embraced it, lady.
Which is why I want to segue.
Yeah, we're going to turn this ship.
Can I turn this ship?
Absolutely.
We're going to do a Joie De Vivre podcast on the death of your father.
And I'm going to.
I know, that's like a whole other.
And I'm going to ask you a question that you can or cannot answer, but I think it's important for viewers and listeners to know that you don't have to wait to get to the end of your life to do the things one must do. So I am going to ask you, and you don't have to tell me, how old are you?
I'm 41.
Yes.
And
guessed correctly.
I am going
Said a little younger.
This is what I really want to know.
Perfect.
I want to know what it's like to be 41, to own 3 businesses after you owned 4. Your dad has died. He's been dead. How long? How long was it before you did?
January.
In January. And then this summer, you took off all by yourself without Johnny, correct? Without people, just you. And you went to Paris.
Yes.
Now
let's talk about that.
You just take that. You take that
fun part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to us about
when
first
did
of
you
all the
decide
decision,
to do that, right?
And how Johnny did, but skip
all of
really
it.
fast to the I did it.
Okay. Okay. So I'll try, but I talk a lot. So what sparked it was my dad worked until the day that he died, basically. It was so quick. He was 75 when he passed, and that was his routine. He knew nothing else. So he's literally in the hospital bed still trying to do work. Now, granted, we just let him think he was doing work. He was not doing anything. And so he was supposed to retire in January. Wow. He was supposed to retire in January, and he passed away in January. And he had all of these plans. Wow. He was selling his house in Lake Wiley. He was moving to Margaritaville.
Was he really?
Yes.
Well, that's where he is right now.
Yes. He's having a margarita.
Yes, exactly. He was moving to Margaritaville. He was about to live his best life.
Oh.
And so, and we did have intimate talks about that. He's always been very concerned about me and just how hard I work. And, he always wanted me to downsize and get rid of the overhead, do all the things. And so my one big thing that I always said my dad told me was, I was about to start my company, and I'm like, but I need to do it this way, and I got to get this started first, and I got to blah, 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 blah. And you have this whole list. And he's like, Sarah, stop getting ready to get ready.
Yes.
Just go.
What great advice.
Yes.
Stop getting ready to get ready.
Yes.
Just go and do it.
Just do it.
Incredible.
Nothing is ever going to be perfect.
No.
Nothing is ever going to be completely aligned before you take that leap or that
Yes.
jump or whatever. Just go.
Best advice.
And so those words have always stuck in my head for so long. And I had been wanting to, Johnny had taken me to Paris back in 2015 and I just fell in love.
Yeah.
And it was kind of one of those things that has always been in the back of my head of, could I move there? Do I want to move there?
Right.
Do I want to have, some type of presence there in some way, shape, or form? So again, I think the universe has been conspiring for me to lead me to where I ended up. And I'm still going. I haven't stopped yet.
Okay, but you went for 2 months,
Yes.
right?
Yes. So after he passed, I had you're not only grieving the loss of your father or, your parent, whatever. I was also grieving the loss of who I was because I could no longer be the woman that I was before he passed. She was gone. And I had to now embrace this new person and I had no idea who she was.
Okay.
It was just this flood of emotions.
Why do you think
in
that
and out.
is? Why do you think?
I just think, well, I hate to always base things around my career, but that's all I've ever, I don't have kids.
Right.
I chose that path.
Right.
And when I had to stop working on November 1st, that was the first time that I had ever stepped away. Where I couldn't think about anything else.
Right.
And so when I removed this huge, not distraction, but a huge distraction within my life that was holding me back from a lot of things.
And you're talking about your job.
My job.
Yes,
Yeah,
your job.
the thing that I love so
So
much.
can we just reiterate that your job was holding you back
I
from
know.
being who you really
Yes.
are, right?
Yes.
Even though your job was your creation,
Was my
you
Was your
everything.
identity.
was
Everything.
your identity, and your dad, in his death, taught you the greatest lesson of all: to embrace your own life.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
And so I just started going through this process of, well, I got to figure out who I am. And I started questioning everything. And I will say last summer, I made a big, big announcement to the universe. I was like, I am ready for anything. I don't care what it is.
be careful when you do that.
No.
I know. I did that too. It was
Because
crazy.
what?
You just never know.
So the universe was like, okay.
Bring it on.
Let's go.
got you.
And so it literally tested obviously I didn't see my dad coming, and it tested every area of my life. Obviously my dad, my career, my marriage, my friendships, my location. I started questioning everything. So I went to my therapist and she's like, Sarah, I started talking about Paris. Should I move? Should I do this? Am I changed? I can't go back to who I was. Do I even want to be a designer anymore? Sorry, clients, I'm still here. Don't worry.
She's still designing.
Don't worry. There is a happy ending. But, so I just, do I want to change careers? Do I want to move? And in a moment of grief, you should not make any major decisions.
There you go.
And my
Or
you do.
Or
my therapist was like, Sarah, your personality is you're either 0 or 100. You're never in between.
Yeah.
She's like, you don't even know if you want to move to Paris. She's like, why don't you just spend some time over there?
Yeah,
you might not even like it. Dip your toe in as opposed to going full force. And I was like, okay.
Great idea.
So great. Yeah. So I just started thinking about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Stop getting ready to get ready.
Just do it.
My clients can wait. My projects can wait. My team can wait. My husband can wait. I need this for me. This is my dream. This is my life. I'm married, yes. I'm going to be with my husband for the rest of my life. 2 months out of our marriage is going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
That's what I want to ask.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just how did y'all walk through that process together? Because for me, frankly, if you were like, you know what, I got to go to Paris for 2 months, I'd be like, oh, hell no.
I know.
A,
I know.
I'm going with you.
Trust
B,
me.
what? That's really hard. I think a lot of people would struggle with that. And
Absolutely.
I admire it so much.
Thank you. And I can't take all the credit because I do have have such an amazing, supportive husband.
Right. You'd have to.
And I wouldn't suggest this to anybody if your partner is not equally supportive. If I didn't have that, then, I don't know that it would have continued the way that it did.
But it's an individual choice, and every relationship is going to have its own individual way of handling that. So if you're in a good partnership like you and Johnny have, you all are going to decide, what will I give for her to find her happiness, so that we then can, as a couple, increase our happiness and our emotional health too.
Absolutely. 100%.
So this guy is golden.
He is golden. Do you hear that, Johnny?
Hi, Johnny.
So we know you, Johnny.
You're up next.
Wait, let's get his side of the story, right?
Exactly. You should.
Okay, just walk me to the moment. I just want to see you get into the airplane.
Into the plane.
I just want to see you walk onto the airplane and go.
I was so nervous.
Right.
I was so nervous. I will even say that when I booked when I said, okay, I'm doing this, it was like the end of April.
Okay.
And I booked a Paris apartment and the flights. And you would think that I would be jumping around my house like, oh my God, I'm going to Paris. I was paralyzed for 3 days. I was like, what did I just do? Oh my God, am I being irresponsible? Is this the right decision? What about my team? What about everything.
But you made yourself the priority.
I made myself
which is why I'm just going to jump to the end. It's all working out right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, but keep going. Okay, sorry. I love to jump to the end.
It's okay. I know. I'm the same way. I think we're going to I'm like, tell me the end of the story.
Right.
And come back with the details.
Yeah.
I was so nervous getting on that plane. I was also so nervous about telling people, which was interesting.
The judgment?
Because, yes.
Did you get some judgment?
Yes.
Oh, I bet you did.
Well, a lot of it, of course it was, are you and Johnny okay?
People jump first to that.
Yes. That was always the first question. And, I was like, of course we are, but we need this together as a couple, and we've been together for so long. We need to shake it up.
Right.
Like, this would be great for us.
Bye, honey. I'll be in Paris.
I
know sweat.
And so
you get on the plane.
Wait, hang on. I want to go back. So people are your marriage must be in shambles if you can do this.
Correct.
B, what other judgments?
Just the irresponsibility. A lot of people will look at you and be jealous, and they project things onto you.
It's pretty much they wish they were you.
Correct.
Right.
And it's not
right.
But like this is what I am doing. If you can easily do the same thing.
Right.
You just got to make all those decisions and adjustments and all of the things. And so when people now, when they say I'm so jealous, I'm like, no, let it inspire you.
Yes. And that's why we want to do on the podcast, because for people to live their own lives takes leaps of faith so many times. And I know that you had all your things in order, but again, you were paralyzed. You went, holy cow, am I all these things that people are saying? Yes. Or am I going to take this leap of faith and know that this is how I can finally be myself and know how the hell I'm going to live without my dad?
Yes. And I wanted to go find myself because, again, I feel like I sacrificed so much in my career. I had lost my own identity and I didn't really know, I didn't know who I was. And so I wanted to just go do something that was completely insane, go to another country where I don't speak the language. Right. I don't have any friends. I don't have my husband as a crutch to help guide. And I just wanted to be completely out of my comfort zone, which probably wasn't good for my nervous system because it was all over the place.
I don't know. I think it's the excellent idea.
At the same time, it was like
you were already out of your comfort zone.
I was so completely out. Oh my gosh.
Why not just go out there while you're doing it and say, wow,
here we
look at this world.
Yes. So I just wanted to just go live my best life. And I did. I just did.
You looked very glamorous on Instagram.
Thank you. And there was so much I didn't even share. There's so much more I wanted to share. I'm not.
There might be a book in this for you.
I would love that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Let's manifest.
Let's make that.
Hey, watch out. I've been saying that out loud too, and now all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, that means I've actually
you gotta
do it.
Put your fingers to the keys.
Yes, exactly. So I was very nervous getting on that plane. I did not know what was on the other side, obviously, and all the uncertainty. Am I gonna?
Right.
am I going to be safe? Am I going to survive this? Am I going to make friends? Am I going to be alone the whole time? Am I going to be bored? Am I, and another big why for me was I wanted to build trust in myself and the decisions that I was making for my life. And so I wanted to just nourish this relationship with myself to just rebuild that trust, because again, I had sacrificed so much and my identity was all wrapped up in my career. I was like, I am more than an interior designer. I am more than, this image, whatever. And so it was all about just going out there and just not knowing what was in front of me, but just keep going. Just keep going. And so
that's courage.
Incredible.
That's courage and excitement and life.
Yes, it was so exciting.
So what was the best thing that happened the first week you got there?
So I think the first 2 days when I landed, I was just like, oh my God. When you get onto the other
just
side.
Just go to the cafe and drink wine and eat some bread and croissant.
Yes, French fries and champagne.
Yeah,
that is my thing. That is my thing. So I was just bebopping all over Paris, just like, oh my gosh, is this really happening?
Yeah.
This is the start
Did
of this
it feel
dream.
natural, or did it feel?
It did.
Yeah.
It did feel natural.
Yeah,
which
that's
was
good.
weird. When I was over there, I just felt so alive. It was like, there was this excitement and passion and inspiration. I was, surrounded by so much inspiration, and it was as if all of the dark moments were now coming into the light where I could actually just really now enjoy. And so,
and you could mourn, and nobody was there to watch you. You could just cry and scream and laugh and do.
Yes, I didn't have to answer to anybody. Right. I didn't have to explain anything. If I didn't want to get out of bed that day, I didn't have any expectations to live up to but my own. Which at the same time, I still placed a lot of expectations on myself while I was over there. But the first couple weeks I spent in the south of France, so that was more of like a vacation.
Oh, that's a nice area.
Good move.
Good move. It's my favorite area.
It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And of course, I wanted to also, stay in hotels that were nice and had that gave me inspiration and were designed by amazing designers, etc. So I just wanted to surround myself with beauty while I was there.
Well, Paris and France itself is.
Yeah. So I did a couple weeks in the south of France, and there were definitely moments. It was up and down. I think once I got to the second hotel. So I went to Aix-en-Provence first, and I stayed at this hotel called Villa Lacoste. If you haven't been, you have to go.
Really?
Add it to the list.
My goodness. Yes. It was absolutely amazing.
It down.
That's good.
Amazing.
Taking all the notes.
It was like quaint and quiet, and just I could cry my eyes out and didn't have to worry about.
This feels a little bit like Eat, Pray, Love.
Right. It does a little.
It really does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you didn't end up, in a ashram or a monastery or anything, but
you're good.
Um,
Okay, so you were there, and then
the second hotel, because I was in Paris for 2 days, and then the second hotel, or the second spot, Aix-en-Provence, I was there for about 4 days, and then the next one I stayed for a full week. It was a wellness resort.
Oh wow!
So that's when my mind started to settle in.
Ugh.
And that's when I was like,
yeah,
why did I do this? Like,
right.
I've done like a ton of like health challenges or 30-day challenges or Whole30, or I've done your Hilliard 30-day challenge. I mean, and like the first couple days you're like gung ho, and then like the third, fourth day you're like, why have I done this?
Right.
I'm already in shape. I don't need to be doing all this. Blah, 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 blah. And that's kind of where my mind went on a mindset capacity. It was like, why do you need to do this to yourself? Like, why are you here by yourself? You should have brought this person, or Johnny, whatever. Then you start second guessing, and then of course all the emotions and
which needed to happen.
Which needed to happen. And the tricky part is that you're just there with
yourself.
I mean,
that's my question is, we are not trained these days, especially to be still and quiet by ourselves.
Nope.
We have the phone. We don't know what it is. I loved at one point you were like, I am taking myself out to dinner. I mean, really how oddly challenging that is.
Absolutely.
To be solo present.
Speak French.
Yes.
Yeah. That also.
Exactly. They're like, how many languages do you speak?
One.
English.
Oh, no. Oh, wait, that's Spanish. So what was that like? How'd you get through it?
Just, it was almost like you pick yourself up and go, to your point, the one dinner I went to, it was a gastro experience and it was like a 4-hour dinner and
And you're alone.
I was alone. And the concierge is like, you don't really want to do that because you're by yourself. And I'm like, now that you said that, I am
Damn
definitely
straight, I'm
going.
doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the
Make me.
attitude I
Yes.
want you guys to hear.
Yeah.
Right.
That is the attitude that will take you through life.
Yeah.
Oh, because you said that?
Yes.
Watch me do it.
Right. Exactly.
I totally get that.
I'm so defiant.
Me too.
Y'all are.
Oh, I mean,
I'm just watching this.
Watch me. I want to sit for 5 hours.
Exactly.
I want
Exactly.
more.
I will meet your 4 hours and I will raise you another
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah. So I mean,
That's
it is
hilarious.
it is a different experience sitting there by yourself, because you're taking yourself out to dinner like almost every night,
Right.
And so
So what did you do with yourself? Did you just have discussions? What did you know?
there was I would bring my journal
Yes,
with me.
read.
I would read. I
Right.
had
Okay.
my Kindle app on my phone, so I'd
Yes.
read. I would also people watch because I love to
So
people
fun.
watch. Oh my God,
Especially in
it's so
Paris.
good. Yes.
Right?
And there were moments that I would get sad because I'd see obviously families
Sure.
or couples or whatever, and I'm like, God, this is so cool. But I'm like, that's
Yeah.
not why you're here. You're
Right.
here to be with yourself and to feel all these things.
So you
and,
journaled the whole time.
oh yeah,
And so do you have your journal still?
I do.
Have you reread it?
I have not.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I haven't yet.
This-
I feel like I'm still also in that process of processing everything because it was pretty much go while I was there, and so I've saved some pages in the back to kind of
How long
that's
have you been
good.
back from Paris?
about 3 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, okay. Wow. There's more to talk about.
Oh,
Paris,
yeah.
But what is this reentry like into Charlotte?
Ooh, so
Yeah.
yeah. It's been a little more difficult than I even
Yeah.
thought it was going to be. I was actually on a high about
What do you miss
coming
the
home.
most? What is the transition that's so hard?
I think the feeling of being alive while I was there, the
Yeah, yeah.
excitement, the like wanting to get out of bed and just go and see, do, explore. Charlotte, I'm from Charlotte,
Yes.
so I've been here my whole life and I know the city like the back of my hand. And so
It's a small city
it's
for
a
you.
small city now.
Wow.
And I think it'll always be my home base. I'll
Your
never,
touchstone.
I'll always have Charlotte.
Okay.
But my mind, you can't go to Paris or have this experience and
No.
come back and stay small.
No.
You just
You can't.
can't. You just can't.
I love that term too, because a lot of us try to live small. We try to live within our confines, within whatever, either our other people in our lives think we should be doing, or even we confine ourselves
Right.
to what we think we should be doing.
Yeah.
And so you have already experienced the other side of that. In our process, we've experienced the other side of that. In
You can't go
in
back.
relationship,
You cannot go back.
can't go back.
You can't go back to living small again.
Yep.
But also you've got to take care of the people you love.
Absolutely.
And you've
Yeah.
got to weigh it
Yes.
out, and it is not a piece of cake, right?
No, it is not. It is not. And Johnny and I, we definitely can laugh about it now. We're only 3 weeks in, but
Johnny, you're next. Like
I
said.
I know. You'll love him. We laughed because we were like, well, maybe we were naive to think that we
Yeah.
could go off or you could
Sure.
go off and do this, and then you would just come back and just everything would be perfect
Yeah.
because he was also here living his own life,
Right.
building new relationships and new
Right.
hobbies and new things while I was gone, and so. I was excited he was excited to show me the life that he has been living when I was away. Whereas the life that I was living
It's
is
gone.
miles and
Yeah.
miles and miles away.
Makes so much sense.
And so, now trying to capture that joy to meet it's
Yeah.
just
So
it's a lot.
interesting.
Challenge.
It's a challenge. And, we're not naive to say, that's not happening because it is. And so, we're still trying to figure that out and things are much better now. But that just comes with
But it will
communication and understanding.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a relationship. A relationship
Absolutely.
is not here.
No.
A relationship is all over the place, especially with what not only the trip that you did for the 2 months, but with the death of your father and just all the change that have happened in your lives.
Yeah.
And I think people want to hang on always to the past because that's comfortable and it's what they know. And I think when you have those life events of death, travel like this, I mean, you've got to be able to embrace the change and ride it.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, everything is still very much so raw. And, it hasn't even been a year yet. And I can tap into that sadness very easily.
Yeah.
And so, I'm still going through the grief along with, these other changes that are happening in my life. And it's like all these train tracks that are just overlapping.
Yeah.
But it's all... It's as if now that I'm back, my journey's not over.
No,
it's almost like just beginning.
It's just the beginning. So you've got a taste of the world.
Yes.
And you've lived here all of your life, and you are not a small player. However, you've got this incredible partner, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I see the world in your view. And I mean, literally the world.
Yes.
So are you going somewhere next?
Yeah. What everyone wants to know.
I mean,
Right.
I'm sure you probably don't even know yet.
I do not know. I do know. I mean, this is not a secret by any means. I do want to have a presence of some sort in Paris. I think, again, I can't come back and not stay small. I cannot stay small. And so I do want to have a presence in Europe, Paris specifically. And then that opens up my world to even more.
This is great.
Right.
I can bring back all of those memories and excitement and everything, but I don't know how to blend them into Charlotte as much as I would want to. And so
when you mean your presence, do you mean more as a businesswoman or personally? Or
both? I would love both. And, to kind of check that box on my career, like I got excited again about my career. I love interior design. I love what I do. I still have a ton of goals and dreams that I want to pursue and check off. And I know that if I just cut that off now, I wouldn't be happy with myself. But it might take a little bit of a different direction.
Sure.
And I think that's great because
that's what creative
people do. Yeah.
Do you have people in Paris that you met that you stay in touch with?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So this could be the connection that continues this pattern.
Absolutely. And I think I met just like little relationships here and there that might have seemed small in the moment, but I can see how they're all interconnected. And I think they'll, take me even further. One relationship was actually a good little gem, but I met an artist and her husband who they own a gallery in Saint Germain.
Oh gosh.
And so they kind of took me under their wing and we went out to lunch and dinners and they were just so sweet and so kind and just opened up a lot of doors for me. And she was actually showing in New York last week for a solo exhibition. So I flew to New York to see them. So it was really cool to see. Yeah, it was
That's
so
great.
I had met them in Paris. Now they were in the States. And then, of course, they invited me back and Johnny too to go and stay with them. And
Johnny's open to all this, right?
Oh, yeah. I think he was fully prepared for me to come home and be like, okay, we're moving to Paris.
Right. Pack it up now.
Pack it up now.
Do you think you would have
Get
done
Chloe.
it? Do you think you would have gone?
Yes, he would have. Because we've talked, we've traveled a lot and we've talked about things, but I think he also was, building relationships and things while I was gone. So he would be a little sad too.
Yeah.
Right. You said though that the dog was the one who gave you the worst time.
Oh my gosh.
The dog. Oh,
She wouldn't talk to me for 2 weeks.
No, of course not.
I was like, what is happening? I was like so sad when I got home because not only the transition, but I was like, and my dog won't talk to me.
Right.
I'm like, why am I even here?
Yes.
Animals can be cruel that way. It's true. They do. They do.
Then they forget it. Okay. Talk to me a little bit about your team and how you were able to do this as a business owner, how that worked.
Absolutely. So I think
that's what I want to know.
You're like, wait, how can I do this?
'cause
again?
I know we all have our own different things we want to learn from this and glean, but some of us just want to be able to, go out with our friends without our husbands being mad. But I really want to know how you have this business. How does this work?
Again, I think it's just things have been working in my favor for a while now. And I have through the years have gone through many different teams and personalities, et cetera. And I think I am just at a really good point right now where I have an amazing team. And I did go to them first and say, this is what I'm thinking. I kind of want to get your blessing before I go.
That's great.
And every single one of them were like, yes, absolutely.
Do it.
Of course, they're probably like, boss is gone for 2 months.
Yes,
Right.
party.
Yeah. But I just have a really solid team right now. And because I have kind of taken a back seat, or I slowed down a little bit. Things did kind of slow down. So we didn't take on any new projects. We were just working on the ones that we had on our plate. So I didn't overwhelm them with anything while I was gone. So I think it just all worked out. And in the same breath, I started to downsize anyways, because again, after my dad passed and just looking back at my career, I was like, was I really happy? I thought I was happy.
Right.
Acquire, you think more
Exactly.
equals success.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case.
The thing I want to ask though is, does it really take the death of someone that you love to make us be ourselves? I mean, one thing I'm sure you probably have learned here is I'm not going to wait till the big things happen. Right.
Correct.
I'm going to go ahead and follow this dream. It may feel completely out of my comfort zone, but I sort of see it, even though I have no idea how to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I actually just read this really great quote the other day about how, if you can see clearly the path in front of you, then the path is probably not your own. It's probably following somebody
Interesting.
else's.
Interesting. But
if you can't see clearly and it's gray and dim and you're confused, then it's probably your own path that hasn't been carved out yet.
That's the best explanation.
Yes.
See, I can't
So
ever
true.
explain myself with these things. This is really good.
Yes.
And so,
I love
you're
that.
in
I love
essence,
that.
you're the trailblazer because you are carving the trail.
Because you don't know
You
where
have
you
no
don't
idea.
You have this vision, but kind of a vision, but you're not quite exactly what it looks like. But
Yes.
you just know you're going there.
I know I'm
and you know
going
you've
there.
never been there before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one thing too, I'm learning is to kind of slow down. I think previously, whenever something like this would happen, I lost a team member or I lost a project or something fell through, I would immediately go into problem solving. Like, okay, we got to hire this person. We got to do this. I got to go. Fix. And now I'm just like, no.
Yep.
Take a breath.
Take a breath. Take
Let
a
it-
nap. Like
Yeah,
that
take a
podcast.
nap.
Take a
Yes.
nap. We heard that podcast the other day on Glennon Doyle's, and the woman was like, everybody needs to slow down.
Slow down.
Take a nap. You have some of your best
Creativity.
I agree.
creativity coming out of rest. And while you were in Paris, you did rest. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. In between running around like a crazy
Exactly.
person.
But yeah.
But you had nobody else that you were dealing with.
That productivity culture.
All of the daily routine distractions were removed.
Oh.
So I could really center on who do I want? What do I want to do today? Who am I today?
Right.
And really, I mean, it could be as mundane as, what do you like to do? Do you like to go shopping or do you hate shopping? Like, what is it? Do you really like to go to museums or
Yes,
do you
do you not?
Like,
Fantastic.
You know what I'm saying?
So
It like
cool.
strips away so many things. And then again, you're by yourself.
It's
So,
that trust decisions.
trusting your decision.
I mean, I think we take that for granted or don't even notice that that's something we should
So-
practice.
yes.
Takeaways here.
God, so many.
Oh my gosh.
Like, huh?
Quit getting ready to be ready.
Yes.
Go and
I
do
mean,
it.
Just do it.
Go and do it. I can't do it. I have 4 children. I have a husband who's doing this. I have a
Yes.
wife who's doing this. Find your way.
Find your way and it'll figure
Find your
itself
way.
out.
You don't all have to go to Paris.
No, you don't. You
You
do
don't all
not.
have to go to Paris.
Right.
Maybe it's just doing that next thing that you just don't think you can do. Maybe it's dropping a career, or maybe it's adding a career.
Yeah.
Or saying no for a change
Ooh,
to
big
every
one.
single
Big
thing
one.
that comes down the pike. And what you just said to me a minute ago, or you just said to us a minute ago about, I was always, when you're the boss, you're like, oh, I've got to do the fix right now. Got to do the fix right now. We've got a problem. Got to fix it. Slow it down.
Slow it down.
Take breaths.
I'm
rest.
I'm trying to bring in more feminine energy. I think too, when you when you're kind of a business owner, you're always projecting this masculine energy, and
That's
just
true.
throughout life, somehow I've acquired a lot of that in decision making and just trying to get in that mindset. And so I'm trying to bring more feminine energy in, which is slowing down, letting your intuition guide, letting things just kind of unravel at the pace that it's supposed to, instead of you forcing your way through everything.
And this was another thing I gleaned from listening to the podcast about rest was women in business sometimes we try to step into the way male, like you said, male energy. And that's not men and women, but male energy is go, 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 fix, do.
Yes.
But female energy is very much more restive. It is more nurturing, it is more creative when it can see all the things and bring them together in a symbiotic way that is not this stuff.
Yes.
And
I think we have to try to do that as like boss bitches. You know, like
Yes,
if you're
I
going to be the boss, you
know.
have to be super badass all the time. And
The
it's like,
hustle culture.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so over it.
Yeah.
I'm just so over
Yeah.
it. I'm like, no, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Because again, like just looking back, I thought I was so happy. And I look back and I'm like, was I though? I was
Right.
just so tired and exhausted and stressed out all the time.
Right.
And like always concerned about the next thing. And I'm like, is that happiness? I don't think that
I don't think
is.
so.
I think so.
Yeah.
So less is more. I mean,
Less is more.
Do less
Yeah.
and have more, and take that breath or take that trip.
Yeah, I just say one of the things that I kept saying to myself was just stay curious. Just stay curious.
That's everything.
Stay curious, feel everything, feel all the emotions, happiness, sadness, confusion, whatever it may be. Stay curious about, how your day is going to lead, who you're going to meet, who you're going to see, what you're going to come across. Just stay open-minded to anything that comes your way and just absorb it and just process it slowly and see what, just let it roll.
Those are the best words we could.
I know.
We could wrap this up on.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I'm like, I want to know so
thing.
much more, but we'll ask after. I'll get all the
I might
dirty
have to get you
details.
back. I mean, this is I didn't know all of the things you had done. I just saw again what we put on social media.
Exactly.
That's
Of
what
course.
we want everyone to see.
Of course.
But there's so much depth here, and we all have depth in our lives. If we'll
Absolutely.
just close our eyes, take a rest, and pay attention to it, and slow it down.
Slow it down.
And find
Experience
ourselves, be ourselves, and please don't wait on some horrible event to happen, right?
No.
Right.
Yes,
Well, and I mean,
no.
I think that's the beauty of your ability to find that joie de vivre through an experience that was really sad and challenging, and one that we all know is going to happen, but we don't want to happen.
Absolutely.
And that, I just admire everything you've done and who you are, and your ability to explain that to us today.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
We're so grateful.
Much. Yes,
This
thank
was
you
so
for
much
letting
more than
me
I thought
be
it would
so
be.
much
here.
fun.
I mean, okay, so now we're friends, right?
Yes.
We
Yes.
were friends before, but we knew each other, but we didn't really
Know each
now
other.
We're like,
Really,
now we're
really
like,
friends.
okay, now.
Y'all are very much alike.
No, I know. I'm so excited. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
thank you, Sarah.
ladies, so
And we
much.
will come back next time with, I don't know what, for
Whew.
Joie De Vivre, but go out and live your life and find your joy.
Sounds like a plan.
Stop getting ready to get ready.
Yes.
Woo. Bye.
Bye. Thank you all. Thanks for listening to us today, wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can now find our podcast on YouTube.
Yeah. If you liked it, please share, rate, and review. We love 5 stars. And we hope you'll work out with us online or in studio at HilliardStudioMethod.com.